Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It has been too long. Here again for some RPG Playground related content. With Premium right around the corner, there is no better time to get started with your RPG Playground adventure and get making games. You don't need any code. You don't need any money. It's a free website, and there's really no coding required. I know you hear things like that a lot, and then you get into it and it says, oh, okay, well, you really do need a little bit of code. It's really a great website and a great platform, and I think it's still very underrated. And maybe after Premium comes out, that won't be anymore. I'm going to link to a couple of other folks in the description, Mackmore and Shay Slay, who've made some other great RPG related content. Check that out as well. Shay Slay makes great tutorials, and Mackmore has done an amazing job of showing off some of the great games that people make on RPG Playground. Also have some links to the games that I've made there, so you can check those out. Specifically Fatebreaker 2 Dragon's Island and The Legend of Tilia, both wonderful RPGs in their own right. They have a lot of cool mechanics, but this one might probably top them all, the one that we're going to make here together. I really want to just make a series with Premium coming out to show all of the things that RPG Playground can do as it is right now, and really just try and show off this software slash website as good as I can, because that's really all it is. It's a browser. There's not even any downloads required. So like I said, no money, no download, no installation, no code required, none of that. You just open it up in your browser and you get making. You can even make and play the games on your phone. Now, the games that I make, you can't play on your phone because the character, let's see here, in play mode here, the character moves too fast. I find the pace of movement to be slow and tedious for getting around the large maps that I make. I like a faster character. It makes my games hard to play on the phone because it's difficult to control him with the way the phone controls work. But still, it's very cool how easy it is. Just make a game and you can play it anywhere. With Premium coming out, we may get some new much needed functionality. You will have to pay for that. I think it's a $30 one-time purchase, and we'll see. We'll be getting an announcement, I think, very soon of some of the new features we'll get with that. But what we're here today is to kind of just introduce you to the series. We're gonna make a fully fledged RPG in the vein of kind of the greats of the 90s, kind of the golden age RPG. We have, A Link to the Past from 1991. We have Secret of Mana from 93. We're going to be really making something kind of similar to that. It is an ARPG, okay, an action RPG, because we're going to be swinging our sword like this. It's not going to be a turn-based thing. So we're going to lose some of the luster that kind of define that era as well, such as FE7 and some of the tactics RPGs and things like that. So we don't have the turn-based. That's not what this software is best for. It can be done, but it's a bit cumbersome. But in terms of making an action RPG, it's just absolutely wonderful. And we're going to talk about that now. So in our game, we'll have shops. We'll have gold that you can acquire from treasures, defeating enemies. We'll have experience, leveling up. We'll have quests. We'll have puzzles and items. There'll even be stealth type missions, and these are all things that can be done in this software. And we're gonna show you how to do it, and we're gonna make it together. And we're also gonna show you how to bring it all together as a cohesive game in a complete RPG that feels like it all fits, makes sense. Maybe we can sneak a little good story in there, get a little good storytelling. I'm not really here to teach you how to tell a good story or show you that. I'm more here to talk about the game and the design aspects. But who wants to play a game that doesn't have a compelling narrative to draw you in and push you forward? So we'll talk about how to integrate some of the mechanics with the story as well, but I don't want to get too caught up on that just because I don't know that that's what people are going to be here for. If you want me to make more videos on how to create a game narrative that's cohesive and really make a fleshed out story with characters, plot twists, surprises, emotional pulls and draws, and hooks that just sink deep into your soul to where you just can't stop. You just need to know what happens on the next page or in the next level, if you will. So if you're interested in that, we can talk about that some more. But for this video, what I'm really just going to do is talk about the interface of RPG Playground. Now that I've kind of established for you guys where this series is going to be going in the future, probably will be at least a five-part series. This may be the shortest one, just being an introduction. But without further ado, let's just get into it and start talking about what you can do in RPG Playground, the basics. So this is our first kind of 3 tabs over here. So we have edit mode and play mode. We're in play mode right now. We have our game open in edit mode. Maybe I could have showed you guys how to do that. We'll talk about that at the end. If you can't figure out how to get your game in edit mode, you get there. I have faith in you. But suffice to say, you can switch from play to edit mode with this little thing, but only if you have the entire game open in edit mode from the first. You know what? I'm just going to show you how to do it. Okay. you're going to go to make. I have some different games here I've been working on, and we can do play and edit. Press edit. If you don't press edit, you will not have the option to edit. Okay, so it's last time I wanted to show you guys that. Click X here, go into play mode. He's saying hello to an invisible actor, and he's stuck in a tree. He started in a tree. Get out of that tree, my guy. So switch from edit to play mode with this little wrench. That's all we're trying to do here. Now, this flower represents our stamps. We have some different functionality with our stamps here, what we can do with them. But first, let's just talk about the pages. We have a lot of pages of stamps, everything from snowy water, or just snowy ground, regular water, sorts of buildings. I mean, as you can see, there's a wide variety of things to pick from here. I would almost say that before you really get into making your game, just get yourself familiar with these pages and see what's available to you, because not everything you can imagine is available. You may find, oh, I really wanted something to be in the game and my whole game planned around it. Now I can see it's not there. I believe with premium, you will have the ability to, put in your own assets for this. But I don't know. None of the premium features are guaranteed yet. So this is what we have to work with, and for the foreseeable future, this is what we're going to have to work with. But it is a lot, and you can really do a significant number of things with just the variety that's in here. So I encourage you to look through these pages yourself, get acquainted with them, get familiar with them, get comfortable with them, and that will really help you further on in your game making. So that's this flower in the top left. We haven't talked about these things yet. We'll talk about those things later. Next, let's talk about this little person up here. This is our actors. So we have humanoids, elves, and monsters, animals. Those are mostly just mogs. They don't really have any practical effect. They kind of do, but we're going to circumvent that. I'll talk to you about that later. And then we have objects here, which is basically everything else. So this potion you can interact with will give you some health. I'll show you how that works in a moment. These guys are really no different than this. Or do we have an invisible force switch? Yeah, here we have that as well. So these things all are very similar and interact in very similar ways. There's a couple of key differences we'll talk about. Well, there really aren't many. The main difference is just for the tile, you have to walk over it. Let's part these here. Oh, you really don't. You really have to touch the tile. Yeah, so really functionally, these are all essentially the same. The difference is you can walk over the tile where you can't walk past these invisible actors. You block your way. And then these little blocks here are really just a visual cue. I like them for certain kinds of items. Like I may say, okay, well, if you find this one, then you know it's going to be a potion, or maybe multiple potions. Maybe, like one game I did where this red block equaled 1 potion, this one equaled like 5 or more or something like that. So those are things that you can interact with. And for those of you who aren't familiar with game making or code or anything like that, the difference here is that these trees can't be interacted with, and there's no way to make them interactable in the game. I can put an invisible actor here, but the difference is one thing that I can do is I can say invisible actor 3 becomes inactive, right? And that's fundamentally our difference. So these trees, sure, I can walk into them. And because I put an invisible actor in the tree, it makes it seem like I can interact with this tree. I say hello to it. But you see, after I say hello, the invisible actor went away because it was coded to do so. There's nothing I can do to make the tree go away. There's nothing I can do with the functionality the game has now where I can say, I'd love to have a thing where you find an axe and you cut down the tree, and we could have a visual representation of that with you interacting with the tree, have a little dialogue box pop up that says, cut, 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 and then the tree just disappears. But I can't make the tree disappear because it's not an actor, it's a stamp. There's kind of a way to circumvent that. It is very cumbersome. I've done it before. It can have great effect. We're going to use it when we want bomb. We're going to have a bomb mechanic where we can bomb little broken areas in walls. But the walls are not actors. We can't interact with them in that way, so I can't make them go away. But I've got a little trick that we'll show you in another video on how to get around that. So that's our actors page. Getting acquainted with these isn't as big of a deal. The other thing I wanted to mention about these ones, the top 3 pages that are mostly just mogs, they're mostly just visual representations for the avatars. They do have different functionality. We'll represent that with this here. So the wise old man has a when touched functionality. That means we can talk to him and we can do a variety of things when we interact with him. He basically becomes an actor in that sense. He has full when touched functionality. Essentially, the when touched functionality kind of has its own limits and potentials. And basically his is the same as what you might get from an invisible actor. So anything that has what you call talk behavior is going to give you the same potential. This guy has health, right? You'll notice this character does not have health. This guy has health. He has patrol behaviors, melee attack behaviors. Basically, this is a combat unit that can attack and take damage. And he can't talk, though. This old gentleman can talk. This monster can't talk. This little chicken can't do either. He can't fight or talk because he's just a chicken. But what if you want a chicken that can fight? Well, you just go to this guy and you change his appearance to the chicken, and he will still retain all of his old functionality despite the fact that his visual representation in the game has changed. So that's kind of the trick for getting around when you want something to look a certain way, but you want it to act like something else. The secret here, what I suggest, is just make everything a knight, because knights have all the functionality. They can talk when touched, they have talk behavior, and they have all the health and attack behavior potential. So really with a knight, you just start with a knight, you can do almost anything, and you just change their appearance to what you want from there, and you'll know that no matter what you change it into, it'll be able to do what you want. The only exception to this are some of the monsters where you might as well just use the monster, because you may, for example, not want, oh, did I lose the knight? You may not want your, show you an example here. You may not want your octopus swinging a sword. So, evil. Okay, well, first, activate swing weapon ability, attack behavior. Don't really need patrol behavior, move enemy. Doesn't matter. Alignment, evil. If it's good, it won't attack you. Okay. So, everything starts with automatic. Everything that has talk behavior automatically starts with dialogue. You gotta be that. So, it's a little strange that this octopus is swinging a sword. It started as a knight. Attack behavior is always going to be the swing weapon ability, as opposed to if you just started with your octopus, its attack behavior is a sort of a charge-like thing. It's actually a good time to show you how potions work. Some damage, and we just jump over the potion and it gives us some health. We're going to be implementing some other alternative potion functionality, so that you can have them in a sort of an inventory and use them at certain locations. Now, as of right now, there's no way to create an. You can just open from anywhere and have like a menu screen, but there are ways to make interactables where you could potentially access an inventory from there. So moving on to our final page, I think that's about all there is to be said of actors. Moving on to our final page here, we've got our levels, and that's pretty much it. We're going to be adding some new levels now because we already know what we're going to want in our game. We're going to want a shop. We'll make indoor small for now and add it later. We're also going to want regions. So we'll call this northern cold, outdoor small. We'll call this one the western lake. We'll say for now. We can we'll see how that goes later. Oh, I made it indoor. Oh well. Okay, adding a new level. This one's going to be eastern desert or medium. I'll flip on the edge a little bit, and we'll make the last one southern isles. Okay, here we go. Or actually, is Southern Islands? It's a reference to something. Can't remember now. Doesn't matter. So we've got some levels here, and we can just go in between them. And one thing that's cool about doors in our objects here is that doors can take you from level to level. So, it doesn't make sense to put a full-on door here, but this is the path that's going to lead us to the northern cold. So you can see I've got kind of 4 exits, kind of main hub area. And the idea I was going for here is we're going to have 4 main regions where you have to collect something, some sort of that is going to allow you to complete your quest. And we'll have each one in each area. I really like the idea that RPGs have where they have each area representing a sort of a different terrain or climate. I wanted to go in this game for something where to the north we had the cold, snowy region, just so that we can show off a lot of the snow sets. There's a lot of cool snow. Where do we go? Snow outdoor. Yeah, this one really has a lot of cool stuff here, and I really kind of just wanted to show off some of those things. West, we're gonna have a big watery region. I don't know if it's gonna be a lake or like a collection of like waterfalls and things. East, a rocky desert type area, and to the south, we are going to have some sort of jungle tropical island type thing. Delete these. Okay, so that's our levels. We can seamlessly go between levels. Going back to first tier to show you how to make a door. We'll go into making doors in another episode. Today, I'd really just want to go over this stuff. So now, last but not least, in our stamps tab, we have all of this, all of these little things. So let's actually just make a test level. Okay, because we can't delete levels, can we? Oh yeah, we can. We can scrap one. Excellent. Let's call it a test. The outdoor medium. So first off, let's talk about this one. Actually, let's talk about the paintbrush. It's the most simple. Paintbrush, what you do is you can either click on a square or you can drag any number of squares. And that's the paintbrush tool, essentially. You just drag over however much you want and start slapping it down. Now, it will delete it all together. So it'll delete that as an individual, but it'll consider this one thing. So keep that in mind while you're working with the paintbrush. And of course, segueing into the next thing is going to be our eraser. The eraser is going to delete whatever you've made with the paintbrush. If you click on the eraser and then start highlighting things in here, you see it automatically puts you back on the paintbrush. So it's worth noting there. Now, the difference between the paintbrush or between the eraser and this eraser, I've got to be honest, I actually don't know. I'm curious here. Let's see what happens. Oh, I see. So very interesting. So we're learning this together. So with this paintbrush or with this eraser, it erases the entire thing as it was when you put it down. With this eraser, it breaks it back down into individual tiles so you can delete little portions if you want and really customize it. That is very cool. That is very cool. All right, let's get these out of here. Now this one allows you to do kind of drag and spread. This is a lifesaver for big maps. Let's say you want to make a big desert. Okay, you're going to go to Inquisitor Ground and maybe pick something like this. I used to think you had to just do this. I mean, you can hold the paintbrush down and kind of color it in, but compared to what you can do with this guy, look at this. You can just drag it into a big old square, save you so much time. You want to make a massive desert or a big old ocean? This is your tool right here. Is this little square? It is absolutely wonderful. Okay, next we have this thing. It's kind of like that, except it's a lot more blunt, if you will. It has some functionality. It's a bit hard to describe. It can't be deleted. You see, you can't erase it. That is permanent. You can draw over it, but you cannot erase what you do with this paint bucket. It is, unless you just, overhaul it with another paint bucket. What's interesting too is it will not go over existing stamps. So, you can see all this stuff here that I've drawn. Okay, that was weird. All this stuff here that I've drawn. No matter what I do with the paint bucket, it will leave that stuff and we'll just paint in between it. So the paint one is a tool I don't use very often because this not being able to delete, it's permanent marker. And the only way is to go back over it with another paint bucket. But if you don't want the entire area to look this way, it can just, I don't know, use it at your own risk. This one, is just for moving things. So if, let's say we have this, I want to move it around, I can do this. But get it too close to the edge of your level, and it will delete itself. Oh, not this one, apparently. Only other things is interesting. Yeah, see there, now it just disappears at some point. But yes, that just moves around your stamps. This fill thing is so useful. Let's say you've got a bunch of trees over here, but then you switch back to ref map outdoor because you want to throw in some bushes from this page around your trees. I get that this doesn't fit with the desert. Let's go ahead and get a grassy area that looks a little better. Now, let's say you're doing this. You've got your trees and you've got your bushes, but now you don't remember where you got the trees. You have to look through, you're like, wait a minute, where were the trees? I mean, they're one of the easier things to find right here in Inquisitor Outside, but it's just an example. Some things are a little harder to find. You might not remember where they were. Just click on it with this little pipette, and there you go. It finds it right for you. There it is. You know, you say, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to the bushes. Boom, there it is. Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to the grass. Boom, there it is. And it's just really great if you want to make something that you can see there on the map, and you know, maybe you're looking for some symmetry or whatever, and it can just take you right back to it. So I think that actually pretty much gets the gist of more or less all the functionality that we have going on. If anyone knows anything that I'm missing or that I didn't go over, who is familiar with the site, you know, let me know in the comments. There's going to be more videos, so we're going to be going over a lot of stuff. That's just the basic functionality of the game. But where we really get into what this game can do and what's really cool is in this talk behavior. There's a lot of different things we can do in the talk behavior when I do action, variable tile, and well, that just gives us some basics. But let's say we had a humanoid here. And when touched, I'm going to make him do something. We have even more options. Let's say when touched, I want to make our hero do something. We have lots of options for what we can do with our main character. So yeah, I think that's all we're going to go over today. So I hope you found this video informative, enjoyable. I hope that you feel like it was an appropriate and efficient, effective display of what you can do in RPG Playground. We're going to be making more videos in the future. We're going to be making an entire game. So today we've just got a very basic skeleton of a game. We're going to go back to, well, we're going to just delete this whole test level. So now that we're back to first, we're also going to delete some of these guys, get cleaned up. And next time we come in, we're going to get serious about making our game. And we're not going to be just putting things all willy-nilly and messing around. That was just me to kind of show you some examples. But, you know, when we get back into it, in the next episode, we're going to set up the basic structure for our shop, our gold, and our experience in leveling. Yeah. So if you're interested and you want to know how to do some of those things in the game, we're going to be doing that next time. And we're probably be going all over all of that. There's no reason I don't see to make a video individually for each of those things. Since we're going to be making this entire game together, might as well just do it all at once, because there's reasons to kind of do it all at once to see how you want to make it cohesive for the rest of the game. Because of the way talk behavior works, you really want to know ahead of time where you think your game might be going. If you want functionality such as leveling up that you're going to have to apply to every single monster in the game. Some of these things can be very tedious, but they can be done, and it can be so satisfying when you get them done. So with that said, like I've said, shout out to DeWitters, who has made this basically he's the designer, he's the developer, he's the publisher. So he's the one who's given us this wonderful tool with which we can express ourselves and use as an outlet for our creativity. So cannot give enough props to DeWitters. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us this and just giving this to the world completely for free. Completely for free. Yeah, premium is coming out. It's going to be $30, but it's been free for years. Okay. And so wonderful human being. Thank you so much for what you've done there. And thank you, like I said, another shout out to Mac Moore, who, like I said, we'll have a link to that channel in the description, and Shay, who have made other great RPG related content. Slay's videos are a little more cut to the chase. They're just very short, 5 to 10 minute videos on how to do very specific things. So if you are looking for example, how to get an enemy to drop gold or something like that, and you want to know that right now, you don't want to wait for my next video, or you don't want to watch my next video because you think mine are a little long or whatever, Shay Slay has some really great content that I would encourage checking out. So that's all for today. We'll see you next time. Like I said, this is going to be at least a 5-part series, potentially more. We're going to make this whole game together. Within the first couple of videos, we'll probably get all of our functionality down, and after that, it'll just be creative process and just doing it together, sort of. So, if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and check out the other videos, check out the other ones. But if you're going to do anything, check out rpgplayground.com. It is a wonderful place to make games, and I think we're going to leave it at that. Alrighty. Thanks so much, everybody. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time.